This next set is just to tell you how to mix basic tints, tones, and shades. It's important that you don't stop your video after this painting demo, but that you go on to the next one, because it's going to teach you how to make things like yellow, orange, orange. It's not what you think it should be, and if you end up doing it wrong, I will make you repaint your color wheel. So you're going to have a little chunk of paper, and it might be curved. Very important is to not have the curved side face down, but the curved side faced up. Then you need to go find the red paint. It is not the magenta paint. You'll see that it's labeled. Don't find this one. You want the one that is actually red. And then you are going to plop down about a dime size. Oop, you can't see what I'm doing. A dime size worth of red paint. So essentially if I put a coin on there, then you are going to take the white and you're going to do about a quarter to a nickel. And then after the white, you are going to get an extremely small and insignificant amount of black. And you will notice I kind of make a little triangle out of my paint. Then you will need a brush. We never use brushes wet, so make sure that you're taking your brush and drying it off in your paper towel. You pull it through the paper towel until it pulls clear. As long as it's pulling color, that will get mixed into your paint. Then you start by scooping up, use it like a spoon, so scoop up your paint, holding the silver part of the brush going away from you slightly. You kind of lay down that big glob of paint. And once you've laid down that big glob of paint, you scooch it over to your edges and then pull towards you. You can always create a nice clean line when you're pulling towards yourself. So when I want to get into that little corner, I'm going to have to twist my paper and spin my paper around to get into that corner, and now pull down towards myself. The next problem that students make is they always want to stretch their paint way too thin. So as soon as your paint isn't pulling out that pure color, it's very important that you go back to your palette, scoop up some more paint, plop her down, and then squish that around so you get that nice pure color, because that is what it said on the grading rubric, is that it has to have solid colors. Then again, to get into this small corner, I'm going to have to twist my paper, and then I can finish out that section. All right, once your red square is painted, you're ready to make your tint. A tint is a color or a hue plus white. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your little swatch and you are gonna take a little red and you are gonna mix that in with the white. You always add from least intense, or from most intense to least intense. So that little amount of red fills this in. You wanna make sure you have no streaking in your paint, so you gotta kinda push it around a little bit. And if you get too much paint all the way on your brush, just take your towel or your rag and clean her back off again, so that when you're ready to paint, you have a nice clean surface area. You scoop it up again just like normal, then you lay it down, pulling as you go, and then you would take time, just like with the red, to fill in the entire space and turn your paper just like I showed you. If you're curious whether you're making the right color, it's helpful to use the color wheel and you can compare the paint. You can even hold your brush right up to it to see if it matches. Once you've done the tint, you're ready for the tone. A tone, as I look at my list right over here, is a color plus gray. Well, that is a color plus white, and gray just means it needs a teeny bit of black. So I use the smallest amount possible on my brush, very, very little, and I mix that in using little quantities as I go. You'll notice right away that it starts to change. If I need a little bit more. This is what many people think of as lavender, which is funny because you think of lavender as being a purple, but it is actually the tone of red. Once I have it all mixed up, if I have paint where I don't want it, wipe off my brush a little, scoop her up, and again, I fill in that section. Now you would fill the whole thing in clear and careful. I'm not gonna do that, so the speed of the video. Then I now need to make the shade. Well, if I go back to my list, I can see that a shade is a color plus black, and here's where people screw up. They take a little bit more black and they mix it into this. But this can never be a shade because it has white in it. So instead you have to clean and reorganize your palette. So you get your water, clean your brush off. Once your brush is clean, remember you don't want water in your paint. So you get your towel or your rag and you dry it until it's coming out clean so that there's no ink left in the brush or paint left in the brush. Then you're gonna go reverse. So this, you mixed red into the white because the red was the more intense color, but now the black is a more intense color. So I get a teeny amount of black and I mix it into my red. And if it turns all black, I have to start over. So little teeny amounts at a time, mix it in. Okay, and then that would get painted in this space here, and that's what most people think of as maroon. Once you've finished the red pie piece, you're going to move on to the yellow pie piece. Once the yellow pie piece is done, you're going to move on to the blue pie piece. After you have those 3 sections done, you will then move into the colors where you first mix the color and then you make the tint, tone, and shade, which will be the next section of this video.